Chapter 1, BHAGAVAD Gita. I'm not going to pronounce it right. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Pura, etc. The concept of that said, O Sagamya, after my sons and sons and you assemble in the place of pilgrimage, known as Pura, etc., desiring to fight, what did they do? Sagamya said, O king, after looking after the army arranged in military formation by the sons of you, King of BHAGAVAD, led to his teacher and spoke the following words. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so accurately arranged by leading for the disciple of the son of BHAGAVAD. Here is the army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Behana and Arjuna, great fighters like Yaharidahana and Virata and Bharat. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Durashataksu, Sitakhanada, Kasiraraja, Durashikun Sadia. There are the mighty Hamanakavi and the very powerful Mahaja, the son of Sabhadra, the sons of Drupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead our military force. There are personalities like you, Vidisma, Karna, Kripa, Abhisasapahama, the Viratana, and the son of Sadamatapola, Viratasapalava, who are always victorious in battle. And there are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are quickly protected by manpower Krishna, whereas the strength of Himalaya's quickly protected by Krishna is limited. All of you must now give also hope manpower Krishna as you stand on your respective points of inconsistency balance in the art. But if this one is breaking down the entire of the two dynasty began to the blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion giving to Hana his order. After that, conch shell strums blew his trumpets and horns roll suddenly sounded the combined sound was fabulous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on the great chariots drawn on white horses, sounded the crunchy nimble conch bells. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Hanaya. Arjuna blew his Nahavadata and Dehema, and a voracious eager former of personally with ass, blew his terrific conch shell called Andra. King of Yavikasapira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell in Amnatea Havaya, and Nakila, and Saharahira, blew the Sugahosa and Manapusakataka, that great archer, the king of Katsi, the great fighter, Sikandi, Yurasadayamana, Virata, the unconquerable Santiac, Drupa, the son of Srivati, and others of whom such as mighty armed son of Sudahadra, all blew their respective conch shells. The blowing of the different conch shells became hot waters, the vibrating birds in the sky and on earth, and the heads of sons of Sudahadra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seeking the chariot bearing the flag marked by Hanan, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of the Atlas-Atman, drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Arjuna said, O horrible one, please not my chariots between the two armies, so that I may see those present here, who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in your great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Atlas-Atman. Sahatraya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus in address Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew out of the fine chariot from the midst of the armies of fighters. In the presence of the Krishna, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold apart the all the Kuras assembled here. There Arjuna could see in the midst of the armies of both parties his father's grandfather's teachers, and all the brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and relatives. When the son of Kunti Arjuna saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering, my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow, Gadaiva, is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer, I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune of Krishna, the Kasi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this castle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. O Krishna, I will avail to us our human happiness of even life itself, and all those who may desire them, and I will raise on the battlefield. Though my Usadanada, with teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers, mother, grandsons, brothers, and other relatives, raise their lives, and poverty that I stand before me, whilst I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me. I, O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, and you in exchange for 3 worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing sons of Brahmashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to give us to Brahmashtra and our friends what we should gain of Krishna, president of the goddess of fortune, and how to be happy until our own pleasing. O Janaparadana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime of destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in their religion. When pure religion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of women to devote as opposed to diversity comes unwed to progeny. An increase of unwed population certainly causes harsh life both of the family and both of those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because of abundance of sport, offering them food and water are entirely stopped. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition, let's give rise to unwanted children all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by succession that those who destroy family traditions will losing power. Alas, how strange it is that never comes to the sinful acts driven by desire for royal happiness, who are intent on killing their own kinsmen. Imagine for me, the sons of the head threat, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and resisting on the battlefield. Sacrifice, I said, Arjuna, having cut swift on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sent down on his feet to find the war. Cast aside his all tears, not pieces out of spoken point of importance. The supreme personality of God had said, my dear Arjuna, how these and here these come upon you, these are not at all that man who knows the value of life. They lead us to higher planets as an infamy. I was not hurt about do you not you or there's big rating things. It does not become you. You have such petty weakness of heart and of eyes as tax your family. Or Pino said, though killer of enemies or clear about you, how can I archers and arrows and manful men like this mountain Brahma who are worthy of my worship? It would be better to live in this world by bringing it forward the possible lives of great souls who are my teachers, even though desiring war to gain their superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tempted with blood. Nor do we know which is better conquering man or being conquered by them. If we keep some of the dead for we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of misery, weakness, and condition. I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple. My soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drawing up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I will win a prosperous unrivaled kingdom on earth, with sovereignty on the demigods in heaven. Second time I said, having spoken thus Arjuna, as measure of enemies told Krishna, Govinda, as my sight, and thus silent, those sinners who let her at the time of Krishna smiling in the midst of the Lord, I may spoke from the first brief from Arjuna. The supreme personality of God did say, while speaking in order words you are more than the ones not worthy to grief, those who are wise and unneeded will be bold with them. Never for the time I cannot exist, nor you nor all these things, nor the future calling us to cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at time. The sober person is not bewildered by such a thing. Those activity is not a permanent appearance of happiness, pain, or distress, and their experience in due course are not appearances of winter, winter, and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception or sign on the planet, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. The best among men are the person who is not disturbed with happiness and stress in this state, and though they certainly worthy of toleration. Those who are serious with the truth have concluded that of non-existent material body, there is no endurance, and with the eternal soul, there is no change. This is not concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body, you should know how to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the nature of the soul. The material body of indestructible and everyone eternally like Jesus should come to an end, therefore find the descendant of BHAGAVAD. Neither he who thinks a little empathy is slain, nor he thinks that his slain is in knowledge, it itself slays not, nor is slain. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, he will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing for evil. He is not slain, the body is slain. But how can a person who knows that bodies and surely become one evil to anyone without anyone killed? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, this also similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up old ones and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor looted by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, continual, immutable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, and peaceful, and beautiful, knowing this, you cannot grieve for the body. If, however, you think the soul is a piece of lead, is that he's born and dies, you still have no reason to repent, though mighty God. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in the human state, and unmanifest again in the dialectic. So what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, and some describe him as amazing, and some hear him as amazing. Others, even after hearing it, I cannot understand it at all. Those in the BHAGAVAD after free will in the body endeavor to be slain, therefore you need not grieve for any living being. Considering your deity is the superior you should know that there is no other engagement with even fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Happy are the Pharisees, to whom such fighting opportunities come in such, opening for them the doors to the heavenly planets. That time however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, and you will certainly incur sins from neglecting your duties, and thus lose reputation as a fighter. People not only speak of written, whereas the respectable person dishonors worse than death. The great one was not having esteem the name and fame of that he has left the battlefield, of the pure only, and thus I will consider you insignificant. There is not a chance to either you will exceed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly human, therefore you have the determination to fight. Do now fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or peace, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. That's why I have established knowledge to you through all logical study. Now listen, as I explained it in terms of working without consider all that son of Bretta. When you act in such knowledge, you can prove yourself from body to works. Everything that there is no loss of diminution, and wherefore advancements on this path and take one of those angels path of fear. Those who are on the path of resolution, not purpose, whose aims are one, and the Lord power for us, the intelligence of those who are resolute is many times. Men of small knowledge are very much enhanced to the power of words for this, but men very stupid activities, the elevation to heavenly planets results of good earth power, and so forth, being desirous of some gratification copy with life. They say that there is nothing more than this. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense employments and material opulence, who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service of the Supreme Lord, it does not take place. The things deal mainly in some of the three modes of triple nature, the origin of being transcendental for these three modes, be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and establishment of self. All purposes considered by small, well, and have conscious spirit, from a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action, and consider yourself the cause and the result of your activities. Never be attached to not doing your duty. Perform your duty, and if it was opposed, so Arjuna, and in all active success or failure, such penalty is for yoga. Yoga for Hatha keep all honorable activities for our distant by devotional service and consciousness, surrender to our Lord. Those who want to increase the work are wisers. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself up with good and bad actions, even as like no prescribed for yoga, which is offered by work. By thus engaging in devotional service alone, great sages of those speaking themselves and results of working in the pure world. In this way, they compare the cycle of birth and death, and they stay down and really don't have to go there. When your intelligence is passed out of the text course of delusion, you shall become different to all that in part and all that is leader. When your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery language of Vedas and remains such an advanced self-realization, then you will attain the divine consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, why are something so one who has consciousness so much merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification will arise for mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in himself alone, then he is said to be pure in transcendental consciousness. Although one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst free from miseries or elated, when there is happiness and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a state of steady mind. And the material world, one who is not thinking about whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising me nor decising his training fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to regard his senses and stop his focus, draws the terms of the eternal fixed in perfect cognizance. The embodied soul never be received from sense limit, though the taste or sense objects remains. The ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous over me, but it wasn't carried away the mind to a man discriminating who is endeavoring to control them. One who restrains the senses, keeping them under full control and fixes consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachments for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. For anger, complete delusion arises upon the delusion of movement and memory, and memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and intelligence is lost, one falls down, beginning into the material pool. When a person forgets from all intention of everything able to control the senses to read his souls of freedom, and complete mercy of the Lord, when one has satisfied in Krishna consciousness with threefold miseries of material existence, is no longer satisfied consciousness, and who is not connected with the supreme in Krishna consciousness, and having transcendental intelligence or steady mind, without which one is no possibility of peace, and how can there be a happiness without peace? As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even though the roving senses on which the mind focuses and carry away man's intelligence, therefore, mighty are the one whose senses are restrained, and all this is certain misleading burdens. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for self-control. The time of awakening for all beings is night for an introspective stage. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter with rigorous institution, which is ever being filled by his own still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who has innumerable desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires for the innumerable sense of profound worship, and is avoided of the divine and final peace, as the Lord is free from all the mind and everything such man is not devoted, and one is thus simply free in the power of God. Arjuna said, Kesava, why did you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is separate and secret work? My intelligence is bewildered by your wonderful instructions. Therefore, please tell me precisely what will be best beneficial for me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, you see this Arjuna, I have already explained how it was to men trying to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by a beautiful philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Not that really obtaining from work, and will keep people in action, no, not denunciation alone can want to attain perfection. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities required from the modes of material nature, therefore no man can be from doing something not being observed moments. One who restrains a sense of action, but the mind dwells in a sense of objects, or pretended. One, on the other hand, is a sincere person who tries to control the active senses of the mind, who begins thought of yoga and Krishna consciousness without attachment to his false security. Before never started duty for doing so, but not working, one cannot even maintain a single body without work. Work done as sacrifice for prisoner has to pay the form, otherwise, work costs bondage. The pure world, the whole world is son of Kunzi. The form of work who is restoring the duties for his satisfaction, and the way of work is remain free from bondage. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, the loving sacrifices for prisoner, in less than by sin. Be not happy by the God, not sacrifice, because its performance, but certified to everything is I will live happily. Then I got to increase our sacrifices all these ways, you and thus I want reason to men, and then I got to serve you without any fault. And also, the various necessities of life, and then I got to being satisfied by the performance of God's last sacrifice, was a final one that ensued. But he who enjoys such a gift that often then divine is returned to certain after the abilities of the Lord are also often associated with the king, which is offered first for sacrifice. Others of the work with the reason of goodness, verily, and with sin. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of God's last sacrifice, and not by the one of prescribed duties. Earthly activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are open to the consequences of personality of Godhead. Consequently, the alternating transcendence is determined to do from the acts of sacrifice. Now, dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in true life the cycle of sacrifice must also be certainly lose a lot of sin. For the one who does not the second person is in vain. But the one who is exposed to himself, whose human life is one of suffer, him there is no duty. A self-realized man has right first to the privilege of prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform support, nor has he any need to depend on another in vain. Therefore, having a constant peace of activities, walks to the act of a matter of duty. intended to mention solely that the performance of the strategies, therefore the system that being people and performing work. More than half of the action of the performed out of the pilot, by other standards, is not set value in past, all the work issues, the several of the is one which solve them, but then all three monitoring systems, nor can I and nor can I them, nor have I used experience in the time engagement of strategies, or when I have the ability to engage in carefully the point of the strategies of content, certainly all men would follow my path. Another performance strategies, all these rules would be put to the nation. I would be the cause of creating a public population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living things. As the unit performer needs, as in terms of results, the world may receive and come up with a thousand attachments, or say that the leading people on the right path. So as not to respect the minds of pure men, as much of the people, results of the strength of duties, the learned person should often reach them to stop work. Rather by working the spirit of devotion, these are engaging in these activities to the critical development of Christian consciousness. The spirit soul polluted by the influence of false ego thinks itself to do with activities that are in actuality carried out by the promotion spirit. One of his mind is actually true. Oh my God, it is not engaging self necessity in some application. Never know the difference between working devotion and other future results. The order of amazing supernatural that ignorant quality engage themselves in material activities to become us, that the wise do not unsettle them. Although these duties are inferior due to the performance lack of knowledge. Therefore, O Lord, do not surrendering all your works unto me, but full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no thanks of the conquerorship, and free from the authority of time. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and without these teachings faithfully without envy and treating wrong actions, but those who have an envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them are to be considered their rich and full knowledge before and bring their measures for prediction. Every man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, but everyone follows the nature he has acquired from free knowledge of the impression accomplished. But there are principles of regulated attachment from the word and protection of objects, when to mental memory, also attachment to the word and single thoughts and habits of the it's a strong effort to discharge one person's prescribed duties, even though faulty, than another duties perfectly. Instruction in the course of performing one's own duties and doing duties of other duties, and the others' path is dangerous, or being so much sense of written by what is one that knows a simple heart even on things that can be so course. The supreme personality of God gets set. It is not only argument, but when a contact with the material other passion and negative transformed into man, and result of balance in the world. As the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly will be covered by different degrees of its lust. The depths of the wise living entity's true consciousness becomes covered by its eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and burns like fire. The senses, the mind, and intelligence are the sitting places of the rest of the black places of everything true, disgracing most sinless, unregulating the senses in the slightest display of knowledge and self-realization. The working senses are superior to the dull master, and mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he itself is even higher than the intelligence. Thus, no one such be transcendental in material senses, mind, and intelligence so by on, or no one should steadily the mind by liberating spiritual intelligence, spiritual consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength, comfort, and stable having known as lust. I instructed this imperishable time to go to the sun god, who was Sarvam, and Vilsavam, inspected to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu is turned, instructed it to the fifth son Rahu. This approved science was thus received as a chain of his rich seven, and the same thinking was understood in that way, but in course of science, and therefore science has refused to be lost. The very ancient science of the religions of the supreme mystery of the music is provided as well as my pen, and therefore understand the transcendental history of this science. Arjuna said, the same God of Salam, as the senior by birth to you, how and I understand that beginning you instructed the science, said him. The personality of God had said, many births, both you and I have passed, I will never know them, but you cannot, but so you were in the room. Although I am born by time of the body and individual race, and although I am Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whatever and wherever there is a time or strange the second book of the Raha, and the mountain rise of religion, all that time I descend myself. To deliver the tidings and annihilate the recipients, as well as the retailers of principles of religion, I myself appear at the limit after millennium. One who knows the present nature of my appearance and activities, my founding body and sacred virgin, it's a pure world, but it attains life eternal, then I do that. Being faithful, passion, fear, and anger, and all absorbing me, losing ready to me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they have all attained dependent love for me. As no surrender to me, I reward him accordingly, everyone follows my path, and all respects the Son of Krishna. Men in this world desire to present creative activities, and therefore they worship him in idols. People, of course, men do results from fruits of work in this world. According to feelings and material nature, and the word associated with them, four visions, each times you are created by me, and although I am the creator of the system, even though that I am yet not the non-doer, being unchangeable, there is no word that affects me, nor will I be lying aside to the person action. One who understands this truth of me, also does not become entangled in the actions of work. All the liberty souls in the ancient times acted with this understanding of my mental nature, therefore you should perform the will be following in their footsteps. Even their intelligence might be wondered and determining what is action or is inaction. Now it's explained to you what action is, knowing what you told you to and understanding. The first of action are very hard to understand, therefore once you know properly what action is, what the way action is and what action is. One who sees an action in action and action in action being focused on that, and use that in mental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. One who has understood the real knowledge of every measure is a woman desire for some gratification. He accepts activity to be aware of the reactions of birth and very much modify and modify. Acting well, satisfied in the action of it, engaged in kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding, acts-minded, intelligent, critical, control, gives up all sense of proprietorship, for his actions and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working these not affected by simple reactions. He who is satisfied with pain, which comes from self-will, to a certain reality, and is not angry, to his second, thus, second, other, is given, actions, the work of an act is intention, residence, response to intense and mental knowledge, work entirely with acceptance, and which of the other will improve upon this, the ones who will those who so complete, and which consummate, and title, and knowledge, and some of the other people some of them will prevent affairs, sacrifice of process in terms of fire, mental control, and produce the regular household, sacrifice of objects and senses of fire, others who are interested in achieving self-ability, control of mind, senses, sovereign confidence, and life record populations, and the fire, control of mind, having accepted true vows, some become enlightened, not sacrificing their possessions, and others on performance of your austerities, by practicing the yoga of an equal system, or by studying the latest advancing facts and mental knowledge. So others who are inclined to the process of breath, restraining, remaining trance, practice by offering movements, not doing breath, incoming, and incoming breath, and bad feeling, and that's after remaining trance, stopping over eating, others who feeling the eating process, often not doing breath, into self, as sacrifice. All these performers who make the eating sacrifice become cleansed of simple reactions of having ceased to enter, of the results of sacrifice is a consequence of the whole atmosphere, no less of the true honesty, without sacrifice, for one can never live happily on this planet, or in this life, up and after next. All these different types of sacrifices are proof of the data that all of them are born of different types of work knowing that when has such that you become liberated of chastisement for them and sacrifice performed with the knowledge is effective when they sacrifice material possessions after the center of Parker. All sacrifices work you will make in the transcendental knowledge. Your trying to learn the truth by approaching that spiritual master with fire from permissively and when your service unto him the self-realized souls can be part knowledge with you because they have seen the truth. Having retained the knowledge of self-realized soul, you will never fall into the illusion. The Lord knowledge you will see that only be able to find supreme. In other words, that they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most simple sinners, you must secret in the knowledge of you will cross the ocean mysteries. As the reason 5.5 we can answer their argument, so is the 5 knowledge burns ashes, all reactions to through activities. In this world there is nothing such a line, and pure transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is of a sheer proof of mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of development service always a knowledge of himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and is recognized the senses and eligible to achieve that knowledge, having achieved the good things as spiritual peace. But in order to those persons who have no real scriptures, do not attain consciousness, they fall down. For the dazzling soul there is happiness, neither in this world nor in the next. One who acts in devotional service announcing the precepts of actions, but he answers to the fundamental knowledge and seeking actually in himself, thus he's not bound by the reactions of word but conqueror or riches. Therefore the doubts which are arisen in the heart becomes to be smashed out of that knowledge, on the good and the life stand in Christ. Chapter 9, Following those that action in Krishna consciousness. Arjuna said that Krishna first of all he asked me to announce work, and I came to live work of devotion. Matthew 5:17, adequately, and right out the two is most beneficial. The first action is not the reply to the renunciation of work and work evasion, the deliberation, but also work and renunciation of work. One who aggregates or retires the physical action is known to receive an answer. So the person will follow God's lead of the most through the knowledge of the ministry of liberty and the knowledge of that. Only the ignorance of the local service hallelujah, having given from that local study of the real world sangha, those who are actually learn and say that those who advise themselves was the one of these practices for the dose of birth. One who knows a position where each time means how to study can be obtained by devotional service, and who therefore seeks out to study devotional service to become the same level as the standard of God. Therefore, that's not serious if not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, not make one happy, but the person engaged in devotional service makes you supreme, but not delay. One who works in devotion is universal and controls his mind and senses to dear to everyone, and everyone's dear to him, without always working such a man is never entangled. A person with divine consciousness has all engagements in touching something to moving parts and doing himself is absolutely nothing at all. He does also do that in the secret or only in the times. It is their own potential engaged in objects that is something from them. One who works is doing good actions to make the result of the supreme Lord is not affected by simple nature as the road sleep is untouched by water. The yogis have added indication aspect with the body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses, and the purpose of purification. The steadily devoted soul stands at a one-way peace because of others of the one peace to me, whereas a person who is not really with the body, who is really the peace of later becomes entangled. With the body living in the also nature and advance of all action, he decides mentally in the state of not engaged in the material body, leaving working what has support to be done. The embodied spirit answers the state of the body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create a physical action, all this active action that moves in material nature, nor does it sustain the seeming and single activities, and body dreams, however, are the weakness of ignorance, which covers their real knowledge. One, however, wise and mindful of knowledge, understanding science, is destroyed, only his knowledge reveals everything, as the sunlight sun everything in the daytime. When one's intelligence finds faith and refuge are all facing the supreme, then one becomes only finds the misgivings, people think knowledge and thus perceive space on the path of liberation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see the people vision of an Gentile Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog with a dog eater outcast. Those whose minds are established in the sameness and equanimity have already conquered conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in a Brahman. One who knows the magnitude of the universe, and the sameness 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 of the universe A person can either reduce it upon feeling something pleasant for a month, upon feeling something unpleasant, who's self-intelligent, who's self-intelligent, and their science God is always true in fact something. Similarly, a person has had feels some pleasure, but is always in trance and enjoying the pleasure of him. In this way, it's self-realized reason enjoyment and happiness for each person based on supreme. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, because our duty contact, scale of senses, those of affinity, these are pleasures as our beginning and end, so the wise man does not arise from them. Before giving up the present body, one is able to tolerate the cruise of material senses and chant the voices of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy with the world. One whose happiness is within, who is active and inclusive within, and his aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated and supreme, is ultimately attains the supreme. Those who are beyond the clouds that arise from Dallas, and their minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins as the liberation of the supreme. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring to perfect on assume the liberation of the supreme and during the future. Shutting out all eternal sense objects, even the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, and suspending the bring outward absolute and also controlling the nine senses and influence. The transcendental attainment and liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in the state of certainty liberated. A person is full of consciousness of need to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerity. The supreme lord of all fires and demigods, the benefactor and well-wisher of all human entities that finds peace with thanks and cure of miseries. Chapter 6, the BHAGAVAD Gita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is attached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and pleases true mystic, not she who finds no fire performs no duty. What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga or looking at the Supreme Personality can do, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. For one who is unifies in the eightfold yoga system through the steady to lead means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga society of all material activities and 70 means, a person is every elevated in yoga will have renounced all material desires, either acts for sense gratification or engages in creative activities. One must liberate himself of the help of his mind and not liberate himself. The mind is the kind of mission soul as having as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best offense, but the one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he is attained tranquility. The second man, happiness, and stress, each and one, honor, dishonor are all the same. A person is said to be established in self-realization, and is wholly yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue, or acquired knowledge and realization. Such person is committed in consolation, self-control. He sees everything, whether he knows stems or gold, as the same. A person is considered so further advanced. The demigods, honest knowledge, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends, enemies, and the pious and the sinners, all with equal mind. The transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in secluded place, and should always have to live in front of his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay two cigarettes on the ground and others at the deerskin and soft cloth. The seat should be near the eye, or the lighting should be situated in a safe place. The yoga should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga. So prepare by the heart by controlling his mind and activity to protect the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, rather than left and straight line, and stay steady with the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me your ultimate goal in life. Thus, practicing constant control of the body-mind activities, the mystic transcendentalist is mind-regulated, attains the kingdom of God, or the Buddha of Krishna, provides cessation of material existence. There is no possibility of one becoming a yogi or Arjuna, but one too much to see little, so too much of it not sleep enough. He who is regulated in his habits of eating sleep and regulation board and mitigates all material pains not practicing the yoga system. When the yogi by practicing of yoga disciples is not cities and constituted and transcends the border of all material desires, he is said to be left tower in yoga. As a lamp in the wilderness place is not wavered, so transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled remains always steady in the meditation on the transcendent self. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. Thus perfection is characterized by oneself to conceive the self of a few minds to others, to rejoice in the self, and that the joyous state one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses, established thus one never departs from the truth, upon gaining this he thinks by great pain, being situated in a position one is never taken even in the midst of greatest difficulty, there is indeed an actual freedom of all misery without any zero contact. One should engage oneself in acts of yoga with determination and faith, not be deviated from path. One should abandon without except all material desires, form mental speculation, plus all senses, on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one becomes situated in transcendental intelligence, attained by full commitment, and lets the mind free fix on the self alone, and typically nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders easily, sleeping in that steady nature, almost similar with God, bringing back under the control of the self. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me, rarely attains the highest perfection for happiness. He is another path where realizes his qualities by conceit of the supreme, and thus he is free from all reactions and cascades. The thus the self-controlled yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice, he can free from all material contamination, and achieves a high stage of perfect happiness and benefit alone in service of the Lord. The true yogi deserves me, and all beings also sees every being in me, and leave the self-realized person sees me, the same supreme Lord everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything to me, I am never lost, nor is indeed ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in merciful service of the super soul, nothing that happens for all one, remains always in me, is all circumstances. He is perfect yogi, without comparison to himself, sees the true quality of all beings and of their happiness, and stress life, which consider my heart of the system of yoga, which we have no sunrise, appears and practical, and durable, made for the mind is restless and unsteady. For the mind is restless, searching is often very strong of Krishna, and to do is actually more difficult than going towards Sri Krishna, said from my arms, son of Pati, it is unnaturally very difficult to prove that the mind is not the one suitable practice and happiness. For one whose mind is in vital self-realization and physical work, but the people's mind is controlling besides all other means of the first test, that is my opinion. Argument that original ways of this nature runs except for fundamentals, choosing beginning takes the process of civilization with faith that people exist. Each word in mindfulness and love for Jesus not attained religion mysticism, and by the honor of his ancestor, a man who is the word of God and science, all the way to the spiritual and eternal successive version of the written God, no decision, and in the sphere. Krishna I have and Krishna I ask, Krishna no one to be found, destroy this hell, this magic God, section of philosophy, transcendentalists, engaged my sister's activities, but not be destructive to this world, performance, the world, of this my friend is heavily overcome by evil. The successful with the afternoon papers and working all kinds of personally activities, going to family breakfast, going to family work, so we said that only the thousands of other long practice of the old 86 person for family fundamentalists who are truly grateful with you, considering this confirmed this way in this world, this is perfectly relaxed, and my conscience to choose life, and tries to make clear progress in order to achieve complete success of some Peru. By virtue of divine consciousness of previous life, is automatically becomes kind of the principles of God, such as transcendentalists, the same as other principles of the scriptures, and when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor to make clear progress and wash away all contaminations, and the ultimately achieving perfection after many birth practice, and the supreme law. Therefore, the ordinary and all circumstances be yogi, and all yogi is the one who remains that eyes and he inclusive within himself, and renders transcendental love and service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is principle as I am. Chapter 7. Knowledge of the Absolute. The supreme personality of God said, Matthew wrote some of Krishna. How am I practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge of phenomena and of movements, this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Counts of many thousands among them one day matter for perfection, and those who have achieved perfection harm become those who prove. First, water, fire, air, ether, mind, and focus, and possible, altogether these eight constitute my separate material energies. Besides these almighty Arjuna, there is another sphere, energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material and inferior nature. All created beings have their source, these two natures of life is material, and all that is spiritual on this world. Know for certain that I am both the Lord and this nature. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls that shine on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon. The syllable Om, then the Vedic mantras, I am the sound and the ability of man. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the fusion fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the prince of all aesthetics. O son of Krishna, know that I am the original seed of all diseases, the intelligence of the intelligence, and the balance of all powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, the Lord of passion and the tired. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, or the Lord of the concepts of Hakuna. Let all that space of being be the happiness, and for ignorance, I am manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything that I am independent. I am not in the most material nature, but I am upon the ground within me. The living by the three modes, who is and weakness, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and impossible. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily master knowledge. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are names among mankind, whose knowledge is solely my illusion, and who are naked as entities to picture of humans, do not surrender unto me. O best among the concepts, all kinds of pious men begin to render their service unto me, the distress of the desire of wealth, inclusive and deep precision knowledge of the absolute. Of these, the one who is called knowledge, and who is engaged in critical services to rest, the I'm very youthful, and these deep made, both to those mathematically magnanimous souls, so that he who is associated knowledge of me, I consider to be best like my own self, in the nature of my present service, who is free to recover me, the highest and most perfect of all. Entering births and deaths, he is actually in knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be a cause of all causes, and all that is, such a great soul, very rare. Those whose intelligence is installed by material desires, surrender unto demigods, and follow the particular rules and regulations working according to their own natures. I am in everyone's heart as a superstar. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make it so steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity, and now that such faith, he never sees the particular demigod that comes his desires, and as all of these methods are disturbed by me alone. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and the priests are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. But an intelligence meant to be not better than the knowledge of this life of God and not is impersonal, before and have now assumed this personality, due to their small knowledge they do not know my higher nature, is imperishable and supreme. I am never manifest of personal intelligence, for then I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am born infallible. But Arjuna has the supreme personality of Godhead. I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that have become. I also know all living entities, and we know their notes. O Scion of the Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are going to delusion, be ordered by reality, the physical desire. Persons who have scientifically infused lives in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and have taken refuge in me, in devotional service, they are actually Brahmin, because they entirely know these and my teachings. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me to supreme Lord, to be good and faithful, to the manifestation of the demigods, and of all methods of sacrifice, and understanding that me, the supreme personality of God, to be that time of death. pure heat, taming the supreme. Arjuna inquired, O my lord, the supreme person, what is Brahm? What is the self? What are primitive activities? What is the material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Who is its form necessity? Who is the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live above the world of the second power? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The supreme personality of God had said, the circle and mental living entity is called Brahman, and the eternal nature is called Atlas-Atman, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of living entities is called Brahman, those living activities. Oh, that's of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called BHAGAVAD, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and the moon, is called BHAGAVAD GITA, and I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, is called BHAGAVAD, the Lord of sacrifice. And during that end of his life, puts his body remembering me alone, and once against my nature, but this there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he puts his body on the son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, each of these serve me in the form of Krishna, at the same time carrying the prescribed duty of fighting, with the activities that he is making the writings and sentences, fixed on me, you attain me without past. Who meditates on me as the supreme personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, comes eagerly from the path he will conquer, is sure to teach me. One should meditate on the supreme person as the one who knows everything as he, who is the lowest, who is the controller, who is falling the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is of his person. He who is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. One, at the time of death, fixes his light hair between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the supreme Lord, all devotion, will certainly attain to the supreme personality of Godhead. Persons who are learning this, who are Purmakala, and who are great sages in the nice order and Brahman, desiring such perfection and practice of celibacy, I shall now briefly explain to you the process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that the detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and increasing the mind on the heart and all anger, time and the head, all establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable home, the supreme combination of letters, the one thinks of supreme personality of God and puts his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain a son of Burma. Because of this constant engagement in devotional service, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is called miseries, because they attain to the highest perfection. From the highest planets in the material world and the lowest, all places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place, but one who attains the right level of self-thinking never takes birth again. By giving calculation 1,000 ages together form the duration of almost 1 day, and such also the duration of his night. At the beginning of night, I said, all the entities become manifested by the manifest states, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged and manifest again. Again and again, when as they arise, all the entities come again, and their rival Brahma's eyes, they are endlessly annihilated. Yes, there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal, and it is transcendental as the manifest and unmanifested matter. It is the supreme, and is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, and that remains as it is, that which has been doubted, as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The supreme personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by all way of devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading, and everything is situated within him. Oh, that's over our house. I shall now explain to you the different times in which passing away from this world, the yogi does and does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman, attain the Supreme, are passing away from the world in fiery God, in the land, and auspicious moments of the day, during the 10 nights of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun factors in the north. When this ship passes away from the world during the smoke, the night and the fortnight of the waning moon of the 6 months, when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon, planets, but again comes back. According to the Vedic opinion, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotees know these 2 paths, so Arjuna, they are never bewildered, therefore be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts a path of devotional service is not direct, but the results derived from the studying of the Vedas, performing the austere sacrifices, giving charity, pursuing philosophical and creative activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and he reaches the supreme point of road. Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. The supreme personality of Godhead said, my beloved one, who never envies me, I shall impart to you this confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be, relieved of the miseries of material existence. This knowledge is the kingdom of education. The most secret of all secrets is the purest knowledge, because it gives direct perception of itself by realization. It is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Those who are not faithful in devotional service cannot attain me through conquer enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this real world. By me, in my manifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet everything that is created is oppressed and may behold my innocent opulence, so that I am the maintainer of all of entities. Now that I am everywhere, I am not part of this house of fantasy. For myself is the very source of creation. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere best, so it's in the sky, all three things best in you. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations in terms of nature, at the beginning of the millennium, by my potency I create from being. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. Under my will is annihilated at the end. But the BHAGAVAD GITA, all this work is not by me. I am never detached from all material activities, seated as neutral. The superior nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction of self-wisdom, focusing all moving and non-moving beings under control of self-seeking to me, annihilated again and again. Fools who I make, as in a hidden form, they under my transcendental nature as a supreme possible I do. Those who are touch the order and sanctify the moment, and accept these beauties in these alluded conditions that hope for liberation of privilege to exercise and enforce their knowledge on all of these. Those who are absolutely good great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the supreme personality of Godhead and a virtual and inexhaustible. God is strengthened by glories and gathering with their determination, dying down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Others may each sacrifice my cultivation knowledge, which was a great Lord as him, without a second sent to the verse of many, and the universal form. That is, I am the universal, I am the sacrifice offered to ancestors of the Creator, the transcendental triad. I am the mother and the fire and offering. I am the father of the universe, the mother, the support and grandsire. I am the optic knowledge, the purifier and the stable of all. I am also the root and the sama and the Bujar. That is. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the beloved, the refugee, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything that resting place in the dynasty. I will argument, I give peace, and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am mortality, I am also death, personified, both spiritual matter are in me. Those who study religion and bring persona who seek over heaven planets, worship me directly, without a simple reaction to take their companies every planet in Indra, where they enjoy godly lives. When they thus enjoy vast heavenly sense pleasure, the result of their past activities are exhausted and return to the mortal life again. Thus those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the 3 days when they repeated birth and death. Those who always worship him, exclusive devotion, meditate on my transcendental forms to them, and care what they lack, and preserve what they have. Those who are devoted to the other gods who worship them fully and actually worship only me with self compete, for they do so in a wrong way. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices, therefore those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ancestors through their ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. If only one offers me with love and devotion, I'll leave a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O Son of Coffee, is not known to me. In this way, you will be free from the body, supporting the obstetricians and the auspicious results with your mind fixed on me and the principle of renunciation. You will be liberated and come to me. I am no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal with all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Even in the most profitable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is considered somebody that he is properly situated in his determination. He quickly becomes righteousness, hangs lasting peace of sons of duty, clear boldly on my devotion never perishes. Those son of Krishna, those who so freely they do have godly birth women, the Hayatas, merchants and pseudos, workers, and attain the supreme destination. How much more is it to the righteous and how that is the devotees in the same king, therefore having service temporary to the Lord, engaged in nothing service unto me. Engage in my duties and technically become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, sure these people come to me. Chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listening to Almighty Almighty, this is why I, dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Neither the hopes of demigods and different stages know my ordinal opulences, for in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and stages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only undiluted among men, is free from my sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of the mind, happiness and stress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great stages, before them the 4 other great stages in the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is actually convinces opulence and the power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfect, they know they engage in my great service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my dear devotees knowing me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive their satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give understanding by which they can come to me, to show them special mercy. I dwelling in their hearts to short the shining light of knowledge of God before the ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the supreme personality of Godhead, those must know the purest absolute truth. You are the eternal fundamental original person, unborn, the great, the soul, the great sages, the Narada, Kasika, Yavana, and the Hayasasa. They confirm this truth about you, and you now know you yourself, and you can get to me. O Krishna, I totally accept this truth only by holding. Neither did my gods nor demons over understand your personality. And you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O supreme person, origin of all, Lord of all things, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail your divine opulences by which you predict all these words. For the times of mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you, and what various forms are you to be remembered of supreme personality of Godhead? O Janodharana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I never seek it, and hearing about you, for more I hear, the more I love to taste and nectar of your words. The supreme personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I tell you my splendorous manifestations, but only those that finally support my opulences and universe. I am the super soul of Arjuna. I seize it in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and end of all beings. I am Vishnu of light, I am the radiant sun of the monarchs, I am Narasi, I am the stars, I am the moon, of the Vedas, I am the sun of Veda, of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven, of senses, I am mine, and looking against I am living force consciousness, of all the Rudras, I am the Lord Shiva, of the Bhatta, I am the Lord Kura, of the Rasas, I am the fire, Agni, and the mountains, I am the moon. O priest, I love human enemies, give chief, Taki, of the body of Teresia, and the bodies of water, I am the ocean, of the great stages, I am Rubu, of vibrations, I am transcendental home, of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy name Japa, and of the immutable things, I am the Himalayas. The most trees I am the man tree, and the stages of the Nagana time of the Ganhara time to Rakata, and among perfected beings I am stage Kapila. The most is known to be the Harasada, producing the turning the ocean to their local elements, I am Karaka, and among their Karamana. The weapons I am the Pentacle, and I am the Karanabi, of houses of procreation I am Kanakaraka, the god of love, and of the servants I am Masuki. Of the many blue lighters I am Anaka, and among the Hapakis I am Nagana, of the common ancestors I am Harimana, and among the spencer of law I am Nama Lord there. Among the demons I am the Kalahala, among the Sibiris I am Kanaman, I am the birds I am Kanaman. Of the empires, I am the look of the rulers, the weapons I am Rama, the fishes, I am the chocolate flowing rivers, I am the arms. All creation, I am the beginning, the animals of the middle, of the all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among the logicians, I am the conclusive truth, of wonders, I am bread like the cave, and among the compound words, I am the dual compound, and also insensible time, creatures, I am the Brahma. I am all around and death, I am the generating principle, that is the beauty. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns and the Sama Veda, I am the Raha Sama, and of poetry, I am the Galagatri. Of months, I am Anniversary Atsa, November, December, and of seasons, I am flower during spring. I am also the gambling of chiefs and the splendid of the swindler. I am victory, I am adventure, I am the strength of the strong, of the sense of risen. I am Bahasa Hadarugira, and the Panavas, I am Arjuna, of the sages, I am the Asa, and among raised thinkers, I am Usana. Among the present lawlessness, I am punishment, of all those who seek to keep down morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of lies, I am the wisdom. Furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no thing moving or not moving, it exists without me. The mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations, where I float into whose purity, the my inconfidences. There is no long, beautiful, and glorious creation spring, but not spark, my splendor, but what need is that Arjuna, for all these detailed knowledge, for the single covenant of myself, I forbade and support the entire universe. Chapter 11, the universal form. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me of Atlas confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion is now being dispelled. So look at one. I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and I have realized your inexhaustible glories, your purposeful personalities, most supreme form. And I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself. I wish to see how you have entered into this house of manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, my Lord, the master of all missing power, then kindly show me that most universal self. The supreme personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, son of Raja, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of very divine multi-colored forms. O best of the Rathas, see here the different manifestations of Adhyas, Gnosis, Buddhas, Persephone, Marias, and all other demigods. So many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. But Arjuna, whatever you wish to see before and once the body of mind, this universal form will show you whatever you now desire to see. And whatever you want to see in the future, every movement and non-moving is completely in place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So having out of that said, O King, having spoken thus the supreme Lord of all power, personality of the Godhead displays this universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw the universal form, always mount, some of the eyes, and wondrous visions. The form was decorated with celestial ornaments, and bore many divine praise weapons, pure celestial dollars and ornaments of divine sense, were smeared over his body. All was one lost brilliance, all shining, yet hundreds of thousands of suns here rise at once to the sky. Their radiance light was unbelievable. Both the supreme person and that universal form, and that time Arjuna, they see the universal form, the Lord of the enormous extensions, the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on a hang, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances with their folded hands. He began to praise the supreme Lord. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I am assembling your body, O Lord, one of those various living entities. I see Brahma sitting on a lotus flower, as well as the Lord sitting on all the cities of the divine serpents. The Lord of the universal form, I see your body now, and I was always mounted eyes, I can't remember what kind of woman I see in your head from the beginning. The form is never received, this is very influence, but striking on all sides on raising high, the miserable radiance of the sun, and I see the glowing form everywhere, the Lord of various crowns, touching this. You are the supreme primal afflicted, you are the most present place of all the universe, you are inexhaustible, you are the oldest, you are the maintainer of yourself, in the personality of God, this is kind of thing. You are the Lord in the Lord, and your glory is amongst you have numerous volumes of sun moved by your eyes. I see you blazing on fire, coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. All the four waters reflect the sky, and the planets also include their red seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All of us are others surrender before you, entering into you. Some of them are very much afraid of offering prayers, holding hands, some face even the king's crying. All these are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All of their manifestations will sit on the high Yathas, and the last is not so happy, and the regulators, and the Kashas, and the Mothers, and the forefathers, and the Haladas, and the Maximus, and the Asuras, and the protected Demigods of the whole human wonder. Almighty God, the one with all the planets of the Demigods are pure and nature is form, with many faces, eyes, arms, legs, and bellies, and many terrible teeth, and they are the spirit of show high. No longer being visited. Soon you will be remaining very much colors from the sky. Your giving mountain your great. Looking out is live eyes, here about you. I can no longer in my statements of food in the mind. For root of words, for refuge of the woods. Please be gracious to me, I cannot keep my eyes to sing us your praise and death of faces and often teeth. No directions I bewildered. All is under the high after along the valley, kings of the Vithasma, drawn their Kana, and our chiefs under don't referring to your people mouse, eyes, and sun, as you have the heads, master from your feet. As many years of rivers flowing the ocean, seven holes, breakers, extra words, and make you announce. I see all people mention falsely, make you announce. As long as God have dash, destruction of winds and fire, vision of feet, allowing all people on all sides to find out. Then the Lord universe with their moments, who are manifest and fire will source your praise. The Lord wants to support these only blue on out of my reasons. And to you, please be gracious on me. You will find my Lord. I don't know about you, but I do not know what your mission is. The splendor of sound is that I say, I am, your greatest wonder of the world, and help me destroy all who have sent you ahead of us. All this is my person. Therefore, you know, the good of glory, how great is in the opposing demon, they already visited my language. So I ask you to see what I'm going to try. Turn this not. And that's how that another great warrior said, what he was on me. Therefore, them do not use simply eyes and you will aim for enemies in battle. So I said to the restaurant, I'm kidding. At the these words, was a super sound about the trembling heart to the offer of Jesus. The point and significant. The carefully so the workers sang the multiple voice as follows. Arjuna said, the master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the petty beings not being moments, demons are afraid. They fully hear it there. All this is rightly done. No great and greater even now. But understand greater knowledge, they not offer others people. Its existence you know this one, not a balance for just when it is just constant transcendental sincere about this. What are the songs asked about it? The oldest souls and sensory madness of the world, what number of everything you have, all that is all, the secret factors, about the material modes, so that this whole false manifestation is predicted by you. You are air, you are supreme controller, you are fire, you are water, you are the moon, you are Rama, first living creature of your grandfather. You never got much of Oasis, mention it 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. Oasis is you have to come behind the false eyes, you have power, no measure the limit of life. You are all created unless you are wisdom. Thinking of you as my friend, I have actually addressed you, O Krishna, my friend, and I'm your devotees. Please forgive whenever I may have been madness for love. I have responded you many times asking if you have nights on the Senga or Sat Thanks together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. But in Bible, one, please excuse me for all those offenses. You are the Father of the complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and non-moving. You are his worshipful chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then can there be anyone greater than the three worlds of the Lord of measurable power? You are supreme to be worshipped by every good will. But the whole dance of the and respect and beauty, and the action of your nature, and the power of the gifts of the sun, and the holiness of the eternal focus of a friend, wise holiness of the familiarity of the partner. Please hold it belongs I have done you. After saying was the universal form of I have never seen before, I'm glad, and at the same time my mind is disturbed of fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me, and reveal again the forms of personality of Godhead. The Lord, so though the universe, the universal form of as on the Lord, I possess you in the form on form, the pelican head, and the club wheel punch, and lotus fire in your hands. I long to see you that in that form, the supreme personality of Godhead said, my dear, I do not happily have I shown you my internal potency, the supreme universal form of the material world. No one before you has ever seen this final form, limited in all and born all this. And let the warriors know when the form has ever seen the form of mine, for neither I show the greatest one that comes, as you want of purity, for my highest activities, for my severe excellence, and I be seen in this form of the material world. Never for perfect I see the form of peace of mind, already clear how to do the more experiences, but the peace of mind can now see it form desire, second time, second Maharashtra, second personality God, and Krishna, having spoken us Arjuna, displaying his real form on form, and actually his true on form, was improving of Buddha. Bring Arjuna, that's not Krishna, the form, he said, oh, come an hour now, seeing this new my form, show who you are, and now through his mind, and I am understood my original nature, second personality God, and said, you are the form of mind, you are now seeing and very difficult to hold, you never got their Sita, he sees form, which is severe. The form you are seeing, and realize not there, it's simply by something that it is, and I understand, see it, when I serve you, and I lose it, it is not I, things that come and see me and I have. Now, we are doing it by the right way, so it's not to see the hand, and for you, and the reason I have to, only when I let you know the reason I'm discerning. Chapter 12, in devotional service. Arjuna inquired, if a considered equal those who are always properly engaged in devotional service are those who worship the personal Brahman, heaven manifesting. The second person of the Atlas said those who teach their minds on a personal form are always engaged in worshiping, who will wait and turn with a personal spirit and who will serve it. And those who only worship of manifested, that which allows the other perception of the senses of cultivating personal food, personal evil, and personal perception of activity, and the whole their sense of the moon, so soluble, temptations and dates, and the lack of all execution. For those who eyes are personal manifested, who are for the spring, but then for the disciples, and the father after the discipline is always difficult to produce our knowledge. But those who worship me, the more activities of the week, and they words to me, but not attention, the days of virtual service everything that company had a Krishna magic on the something like that, but I only had this, the river from the ocean of virgin death. Just fix your mind upon this conversation that and gave Williams open season, that's the way to make these my mind. And I got a long winner of what you have to see on the other education, the ball of the music, as well as the opportunity of the spirit of desire to do the same thing. But you guys actually look at it and describe the work maybe because I look at you and look say to how they want to work and how to somebody and try to answer you and other results to work and find a such a good if you not take the practice and engage yourself in foundational knowledge, better than knowledge, however, is meditation and meditation pronunciation comes after the social pronunciation work and peace of mind. One who is not envious, but is a kind of all of it is nothing except a fighter and is free from false ego. It is equal to no happiness to express who is following and always satisfies that people and gives the moral service and feminine his mind and intelligence is fixed on me, such the virtue of mind and very eager me. Who for whom no one is the and he is ethical and kindness and such here and mentality is very eager me. I know he is not any kind of person. That's it. His fear has been well fit to sleep and he is not striving for something about it. Very eager me. One night of the voice of increase, who will remains, one desires to access with auspicious and auspicious things, such as he is very eager me. I'm using the fact that there's an obvious on a teaching point after the test, and which is a certain plan is the thing you know, found outside of the research and knowledge is related to what considers those who follow the personal method of the considers the different things to some effect, and the which people are really using it. order and consciousness. As Gina said, why the fifth now, which knows all of the last nature, the enjoyer, and the field and knower of the field, and the knowledge and the object of knowledge is a new personality project said, the body of the son of the deep, the soul of the field, and one who knows the body is called the knower of the field. No sign of a reliable, you should understand that I am also a knower in all bodies, and understand the body of knowers for knowledge. That is my opinion. Now, please hear my brief description of the people that Sensi have this constituted words chart changes by one says for each thing to know the people that Sensi and work with influence is hard. And knowledge of the field that Sensi is a knower that Sensi is a term by various sages in various varied writings. This is strictly different than our context of the quality reason as knowledge by the fact. The five great elements also give intelligence that are manifested the 10 senses and the mind. The five sense and desire, feature, happiness, stress, and agitate. The life symptoms and conditions are considered in summary to be the field of activities and interactions. Humility, artlessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching the left line, spiritual mastery, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of evil, birth, death, old age, and disease, attachment, freedom from entanglement, children, life, home, rest, even-mindedness, amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unavoided devotions of me, aspiring to live in solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, technical importance of self-realization, and the philosophical circle of action, all things I declare to be knowledge, and the silence is surrendered or mediated ignorance. I shall have some mental knowing, which is due to the eternal body, superseding universalness, and subordinates to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of material world. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, head, and faces, and he had ears everywhere, and the way the super soul exists, pervading everything. The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings, connected to the modes of nature. At the same time, he is a master of modes of material nature. The supreme truth is sitting outside and inside of all living beings, limited and omnipotent. Because he is so, he is also beyond the powers of the material senses to see with know. Although far away, he is also near to all. Although the super soul hears that he is divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one, although he is a maintainer of everything and entity, this is the spirit of boundaries that knows all. He is the source of light and all luminous objects. He is beyond the knowledge of matter and manifest. He is knowledge. He is an object of knowledge. He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thus I feel that our senses of body, all the knowable habits, similarly described by me only by those who can understand thoroughly, and thus attains my nature. The total nation of entities is understood being expressed various fluctuations in the modes of matter by of material nature. Nature is the cause of all different causes of effect of the living being, is the cause of various subject importance to the soul. The limits of the material nature that comes to live the life of one day, is a good for the material nature that is good for the various species. The body knows how to make it forward, who exists always in the bone nature, and who is known as a suicide. One, the understanding of philosophy is someone who undergoes and who attack most of it is certain from motivation. Thinking the lives of birth direction regardless of such a position, some receive a super thought, but who says through meditation, others through cultivation of knowledge, the same others who look about buildings of desires. I do not understand although not concerning and conversing, and spiritual knowledge of the English is pointless and not willing to become others because of the continued abilities to build against the category of death. So she was around it, and then whenever you see it, system of moving how moving is a combination of no expertise and no field. When this is a super soul, the individual self, in the bodies, you know the same side of the soul of the super soul, in the physical body, is a destroyed act of the seeds. When we see the super soul equally present, everywhere and everywhere being, who is unbringing himself, not just fine, but see which is trying to make destination. When we see the analytic to the body, the fate of the nature, consider herself as reckoning active seeds. When a sensible man sees the situation like seeds, he may consider that these type things are same everywhere, his nature of all and conception. Those with the vision of eternity, considering personal sports, transcendental, eternal, and the other nature, despite contact, considering all of our heart, the soul neither does anything, nor is entangled. The sound uses subtle nature is not necessary, nor that it is operating entirely. The soul secretes in body, using the foundation of the body, that is situated in my body. Those under that, the sound alone makes all the universe so that the living entity, one within the body will live with the entire body by consciousness. Those who see your eyes of knowledge, who between the body and another body, don't understand the process of the body, the pure nature pertains to being all. The supreme personality of God then said, again I shall declare to you, you, this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain a transcendental nature like my own, thus establish one type only of time creation or disturbed in the time of creation. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I can possible births of all living beings, so something like that. It should be understood that all species alive are some cookie, I mean possible by birth, in the considerable nature, and that all receive giving power. Material nature consists of three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature from that moment of time, he becomes conditioned by these modes. The eternal flowing momentness in the material matters is illuminated, and it frees one from all simple reactions. Those situated in my body become conditioned by such happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, or self-thinking, and because of this, embodied living entities have material, primitive actions, or some of that. No advanced mode of darkness or of ignorance. This is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, convulsions, and sleep, which find condition the soul. Though some of Rata, the good mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to primitive action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge finds one to madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, though some of Rata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supreme for all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance of some of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in punitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of pious action is fear, and is said to be the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness rapidly go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work in these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all of these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from the earth. Death, old age, and her distresses, and enjoy nature even in this life, are to inquire, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and illusion, when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering, and undisturbed through all these actions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self in regards to life, happiness, and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of wood, and people high, who is equal for the desirable and the undesirable, and who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike with friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. One who engages in all devotional service and failing circumstances at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional possession of ultimate happiness. Chapter 15. The Yoga of the Supreme Person. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable magnum tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature, which lives on the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruits and actions of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree for living of detachment. Thereafter, one must see to that place from which having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Those who are free and from a false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unto over know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person attains that eternal kingdom. That supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, or by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. The living entities in this conditioned world are eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity in the material world carries its different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and puts it to another. The living entity thus takes another first body of sense perceptions, time of ear, eye, tongue, and nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped as the mind, compressing those foolish sets of sense objects. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can put his body. What can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature? The one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed, who are not situated in self-realization, cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of the whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the use of life to all the vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming to digest all kinds of precept. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am a knower of the Vedas. There are two classes of beings, fallible and infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, imperishable Lord himself, who has entered three worlds and is maintaining them. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without realizing is the knower of everything, he therefore engages in full devotional service to me, O son of Bhagarata. This is the most fundamental fact of the Vedic scriptures of sinless one, and is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. The Divine and Demonic Natures, Chapter 16. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion of fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor of forgetfulness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, compassion and honor. These transcendental qualities of Sattva belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demonic nature, the son of Prithra. The transcendental qualities are conducted to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, we will burn with the divine qualities. O son of Prithra, in this world there are two kinds of created beings, one is called the divine and another demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic. Those who are demonic do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that the world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced with sex, desire, and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demonic are lost of themselves and have no intelligence, engaging in beneficial horrible works, and to destroy this world. Taking shelter in conceit of the lust, and soul can conceive of pride and false prestige of the demonic, thus illusion, are always sworn to unclean work, attachment, by the impermanent. They believe that to rectify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is miserable. Bound by hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbing lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demonic person thinks that so much love do I have today, and I will be more according to my schemes, so much as I have, and it will be increasing in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic riches. There is no so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyments and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always endurance, deluded by love and false prestige, they sometimes try to perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by falsity of strength, pride, lust, and anger, and demons become enemies of supreme personality without it, who is situated in their own bodies, in the bodies of others, and who blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are lowest among men, unabashedly cast into over material existence, and to various amount of species of life. Assuming repeated birth amongst the species of demonic life or simultaneity, such persons who never appropriately gradually they sometimes with us abominable type of existence. These are the three gates leading to this hell, unless anger and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. When man who is escaped these three gates of hell, or simultaneity performs his acts, in usage to self-realization and must gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards strict injunctions and acts according to his own ways attains neither perfection nor happiness, nor supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he can gradually be elevated. Chapter 17, the divisions of faith. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of Scripture, but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this, O son of Bharata. According to one's existence, under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living thing is said to be of a particular kind of faith, according to the modes he has acquired. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances, not recommended by the scriptures, performing them with a pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and peaceful for the material elements of the body as well as the spiritual, whirling within, are to be known as demons. Even the food each person prefers is the three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The single spirit sacrifices austerities and charity. Now here are distinctions between them. Foods eat those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of the life, purify one's existence and give strength, love, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Foods that are bitter, too sour, salty, hot, poignant to dry, burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods are stress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrid, and food consisting of remnants of unfruitful things is due to those in the mode of darkness. The sacrifice is a sacrifice before the directions of the scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. The sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O Shiva of Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of Scripture, without the distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without the chanting of Vedic hymns and remunerations to the priest, and without faith and considered to be the mode of ignorance. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, the superiors like the father and the mother, in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are fruitful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regular, exciting, and regular literature. And satisfaction, simplicity, gladness, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by the men not expecting material benefits so engaged only for the sake of the Supreme was called austerity and goodness. Hence, performed out of pride for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Hence, performed out of foolishness with a set culture or to destroy or injure others is said to be the mode of ignorance. Charity even after duty without expectation of return at a proper time and place into the worthy person is considered to be the mode of goodness. But charity performed with expectation of some return or with a desire for predicted results or the incredibly is said to be the charity in the mode of passion. And charity performed at a given place at a proper time to the persons who have proper attention or respect is said to be the mode of ignorance. From the beginning of creation, the three words om, tat, sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by the Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and doing sacrifices with satisfaction of the Supreme. Therefore, transcendentalism taking the performance of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations is to get free from the material entanglement. The scripture is the objective of the devotional sacrifice and is indicated by the word sat. The performance of sacrifice is also called sat. And all works of sacrifice, when charity, which is true to the absolute nature of is a supreme person, of Son of Krishna. Anything that has the sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the supreme Son of Krishna is impermanent, it is called asat, and it is useless both in life and in the next. Chapter 18, Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Arjuna said, O mighty on one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation to Gata, and of the renounced order of life, Sannyasa, O killer, SVD, master of the senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great one man called renounced order of life, Sahamanasya, and giving up the results of all activities is what wise called renunciation to Gata. Some learned men declare that all kinds of primitive activities should be given as well. The other stages maintain acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should be abandoned. The best of the BHAGAVADs. Now hear my judgment without pronunciation. Who higher among men, pronunciation is declared in the scriptures to be the three kinds. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed in these sacrifice, charity, and penance. We are not even be great souls. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty or something. That is my final opinion. Prescribed duty should never be renounced. Performing itself as prescribed duties because of illusion. Such renunciation is said to be mode of ignorance. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties are troublesome or unfavored of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. Though Arjuna, when one performs a prescribed duty only because it ought to be done, and renounces all material association and attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer is situated in the mode of goodness, neither people of an auspicious word, nor a cashier of an auspicious word. There is no doubt about word. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but either renounce the fruits of action is one who has freely renounced. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable and desirable and makes, but hereafter death. Those who already renounced the word of life have such results as suffering or endure. I Arjuna, according to the method, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. I learned these from me. The place of action without it performing various senses, the different kinds of endeavor, and all the super result. These are the 5 factors of action. Whatever right or wrong action the man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering 5 factors, is certainly not intelligent and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, but though he kills men in this world, it does not kill, nor he is violent by his action. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, never are the 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action. According to the 3 different modes of zero nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge of action, performer of action. Now here are them of me. But that knowledge is always one divided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities. They are divided into innumerable forms. You can understand it being the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that it is in very different body, very different type of living entity, and you should understand to be the mode of passion. And the knowledge by which one is passion and kind of work that all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and was very meager, is said to be the mode of darkness. That action which is regulated and performed without attachment, without love or hatred, without desire for fruits or results, is said to be the mode of goodness. An action performed with great efforts by one seeking to gratify his desires and united from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion is disregarded of spiritual injunctions and without concern for future bondage or for the violence or distress caused to others and said to be in the mode of ignorance. One who performs a human association with makes the true nature without false ego and with determination and with enthusiasm and without wavering in success or failure is said to be a work in the mode of goodness. The work who is attached to the work and applicable with the thousands and orders fruits and who is breathing and is fear and we not going sorrow is said to be another passion. The work of these orders engaged in becomes inventions and skipper, using leadership obstacles, teaching an expert, and insulting others. So it's easy. Nobody's more realistic and fascinating this is the more ignorance. The longer who listens I can be the kind of understanding and connection, the more the self that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is forbidden, and is about goodness. So some of the understanding is not distinguished between the between actions to be done and action that should not be done is the mode of action. That the understanding considers a religion to be irreligion, under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strange ways that form direction, but likewise the mode of ignorance. Those on the determination which is unbreakable, which is self-sustaining, which is acted by the practice, which thus control the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination and the mode of goodness. But the determination by which one holds fast to spiritual desire and religion, economic development, sense gratification, is the nature of passion, though Arjuna, and the determination should not go beyond the dreaming, fearfulness, wrong vision, all senses, and illusions of unintelligent determination of self-perfect is the mode of darkness. So that's what the high does not please hear from me about these 3 kinds of happiness, but which the vision soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. The happiness of the beginning may be like a poison, but at the end it is like nectar, and so wisdom comes under the fakeness of the happiness and the goodness, and happiness which is derived from the fine happiness of the complex, and which appears like nectar of first conclusion, and then is the nature of passion, and that happiness which is the blind of the self-realization, which is illusion, which is the head, which arises from sin, craziness, and illusion, is said to be the nature of ignorance. There is no being existing even here for among the demigods, in the higher planetary systems, which is free from history and born of the pure culture, where the demigods with the Atlas-Atman, the after those unseen divine qualities born of their own natures and portals to material modes, they chastise their enemy. These are necessary control, austerity, unity, holiness, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and richness. These are not the qualities by which the mottos work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are natural qualities who work with the various ideals. Holding now account protection and goodness are the natural work for the Americans, as achieved as there is labor and service to others, while finding the qualities of work everyone can be become perfect. But please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, every one related, an act of action, a perfection, very important for his own work. It is better to reach one's own occupation, even better one may perform it perfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. It is prescribed according to one's nature and never expected for simple reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault. This desire is covered by some. Therefore, one should not be able to perform his nature instead of duty. He must have some fault. One who is self-control and unconscious disregards one's internal brains became a habit of renunciation, the highest stage of freedom from reaction. This will be done for me how one has achieved this perfection contains supreme perfection will save problem. The stage of the highest knowledge by acting to convey I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind of the human race and moving it to objects of sense gratification, being free from the passions of hatred, one who lives must fully play to control the ruling forces body, mind, and power, speech, those in Christ, who is attached, free from false evil, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, celebration, civil elevation, position, except realization. One who believes in God's mind and mentally situated, and one realizes the supreme enlightenment, who is most grateful, the mental and mental desires to have anything, he is equally spares for every entity. In that stage, he can spirit mental service unto me. The one who can understand me as I am, as the supreme personality of Godhead, from my devotional service, and will what is called a business of me, accessibility, he can answer the kingdom of God. Very engaged in all kinds of activities, my fear of the young man that takes an interest between all the perishable abode of my race. And all activity is equal upon me, and look those who are not present. In such a devotional service, we can consciously will pass over all the obstacles to reach the life by my race. But however, you not work in such consciousness, that acts through false ego, not through me, you will be lost. If you do not have full into my direction, and do not find when you will be falsely directed by the nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. In your illusion, will now be trying to attack, but full into my direction. But when I look on your nature, you will have to understand the son of Fuji. The supreme Lord is situated in the supreme heart only from and is directly to the endings of all the entities more secret, and is called an assuming total material energy. But as far as I will not surrender unto him, I believe by his grace, he will attain that which is and supremely from all good. Once I have exposed to you knowledge still more confidential, whatever can all the soul, and then you will what you wish to do, because you are my very dear friend. I am speaking to you, I take instruction, you must have an knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for this is your benefit. Only separate me, become my devotee, worship me, and I pray you forward to me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me, and religion from all sinful reactions do not fear. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted, engaged in devotional service, nor the one who is envious of me. For the one who explains this distinction for the devoted devotional service is guaranteed, and the end will come back to me. There is no service in still more here than good, more worthy than you and more here. And I declare that he who studies the sacred conversation, and others worship me by his intelligence, and what wisdoms of faith and of everything straight to simple reactions, and things of six plants, where the highest well. The son of Krishna will conquer the world, have you heard this with an attentive mind, and I heard my illusions have stone. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, I will one. My illusion is not gone, I ever gained my memory by your mercy. I am now 32,000 I have appeared to hang 40 Son of God, thus have I heard conversation with two souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so one portion of this have I heard is handed from him. By the mercy of the Hasa, I have heard that the sense of condition, every master of this is Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. So King, as I repeatedly recall this one verse of holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I such a clear that everything. So King, as I before Krishna, I am instructed more and more, I rejoice more and more. Wherever there is Krishna, answer 1:6, I